In this video, we're going to talk about using some other animation tools to add some additional functionality to your project. Okay, so here's our last sample. It starts with the same little video, but in this case, the movement of the hippo is governed by the mouse. So I'm just doing a click and drag. And if you notice, in this case, rather than taking advantage of the CSS overflow, there is a boundary, a hard boundary on area 1. So the hippo can't go outside of area 1. Okay, and this is obviously very easy for the user to move, and it is a little more flexible than using the arrow keys. So it's kind of cool. How does this work? Well, I want to show you a couple things. First of all, let's go to our HTML. Now, I did have to add one additional thing. In this case, it is what's called the jQuery UI. So this is a CDN link, just like we have for our jQuery to begin with, and that's right here. But now I have an additional CDN link to the jQuery UI. And you'll find a link to the jQuery UI with this video. So here it is, and it's basically just another library, but it has a bunch of widgets to make some things easier. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of different effects. This is the one that allows color animation. So if you wanted to animate color, you need the UI to do it. So that's one cool thing. It has some interactions, and draggable has been the one that I've found just by far the most useful and helpful. There's also droppable, which allows you to put things into a different container and detect that. Resizable, which I'm sure you've seen these resizer functionality on different things you've interacted with on the web. This gives you, allows you to use that. Selectable, which might be useful in menus. And sortable, which again, I'm sure that you've seen, but allows that kind of drag and drop functionality in a series of items. Okay, so again, I would hope this is giving you some neat ideas about what you could do. There's some different effects here, including things like switch class and toggle class, which this does that add and remove classes to elements during an animation. So that's really neat. And again, there's like add class, move class, whatever. So in each of these, you can use this UI interface to click and see what the effect does. And then if you click on view source, it gives you that nice example of how to code the that effect, right? So switch class, as you can see, it shows the old class, new class, and then it gives you again the timing. So very cool. This is a some pretty powerful effects that you can have with the UI. All right, so how do you use it? Well, as I said, you grab the CDN link. Same deal as when we downloaded jQuery to begin with. You go to that code.jquery.com page that has all of the CDN links, and here you see jQuery core, and here you see jQuery UI. So this is going to be the most current version, 1.12, and just like we did with the core, we're going to use the minified version. It works nicely. And same deal, it gives you the code snippet. You can go ahead and copy that and just add it into your page. So super easy. And again, this is what you're looking for, is a CDN link. So if you want some functionality that you can't find, oftentimes you can find it if it's something sort of common that other people would want to use. Oftentimes you can find it in an existing library, and that's totally fine. You are welcome to use other libraries. It may have a nice link like this where you can grab a code snippet. You may have to download a file and host it on your site and link to it that way. That's fine too. But this just gives you one example of another library that we can use. It's going to allow us to pull in some additional functionality. Okay, so we used the draggable example, and if we view the source, you can see it's really easy. It just has the target, and then it has .draggable, and then the thing is able to be dragged. That's really cool. Now it does have some properties as well, and if you look in the API documentation, you can find out some other things about it. And the types of parameters it'll take, how to code the callback function, which is what this one is showing, and different properties that it has. And one of the really cool things about Draggable is that it has this property called containment. So that is a super easy way to keep it inside of a boundary. So in this case, I just used an explicit reference to area 1. You can also use something like parent to just say whatever element this is contained within, that's the one I want it to stay in. So that makes it really easy in this case. You don't have to worry about collision detection or anything like that. You can just keep it inside that boundary. So this is just one simple example of another animation tool you can use. Absolutely use the jQuery UI if that provides some additional functionality you want to test out and try. Feel free to look for, as I said, look for other libraries if you have other functionality that you want to use. So just for example, jQuery, just in terms of the core and the UI, doesn't deal very well with touchscreens. So if you want to deal with touchscreen, that is something you may want to look for another library for. And in fact, I'm going to talk about that in one of the later videos as we get into module 6 and are working on an animation project, which will be the final project for the class. But at this point, you should be ready to create some animation demonstrations that can show different kinds of animation functionality, including things that we didn't talk about explicitly in these tutorials.